Well, we're going to tell you our personal stories of how I proposed. He gets 5 minutes, I get 5 minutes.
Really? You can?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is how it happened. In the week before, I was really nervous. I was very scared. I didn't know where I was gonna get a ring, but my friends at work were very supportive of me and asking Katie to marry me. And I had told my parents and I had told a few other people. My aunt found out, and she told me that she has a friend named, I can't remember his name, but he owns a jewelry business where he has access to a jewelry thing online. What?
Now you can see our missionary plaques.
But, so, she said, well, how about you come down and talk with him and you can figure out a ring. And so we went down there to her work at Alliance in Pocatello, and we talked, and I said, well, here's a bunch of these rings, and we found this, they already found it, the simple solitaire ring, the simple one. And when I saw it, I immediately thought of Katie, and that, she doesn't need anything fancy or big, but she wants something very elegant and beautiful. And so we picked it.
She agrees with that.
So I picked it for her, and it came in quite earlier than I thought. And I got to show some people and post it. I didn't really post it because she would have found out. And so the funny thing is, she knew nothing, but her parents were completely involved. Everything. I asked their permission the day before the day after one of our dates, and they were like, "Holy cow, you're gonna do this? Wow, we approve. Oh gosh, just take her." And it was pretty great. It means taken a good way. So we went fishing, and we went to a very special spot up by Teutonia, which is by the Grand Teton Mountains, a very famous mountain range up in Idaho near Jackson. And we went over there, went for a very special spot, and I had edged her to say, let's go farther down. We went farther and farther down the river. We were going through thickets and stuff, falling over in the water. Well, that was on the way back. But anyways, we made it to this nice isolated rock where it has a nice little step. We could sit on it, make out, whatever. And so we totally were just sitting there. Our poles malfunctioned, and so we had nothing else to do, and we just sat and talked for a while. And then I said... And then Katie's like, it's getting dark, we better go. And I was like, okay, hey, I found a new lure, I want to show it to you. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, let me go find it, it's in my bag. And I was on my knees, and she was standing up, putting away the poles, and I was like, going through the bag, and I'm like, I can't find it. And she's like, okay, cool. And then she came down, she was going to come and help me, I think. And then said, oh, here it is, and you were looking away. Whatever you're looking at.
Fixing the fishing line.
And you were on your knees next to me, and I pulled out the box.
I wasn't paying any attention.
And then she turned over, and she's like, Kate! Is that your new lure? And I was like, Katie, will you marry me?
It's true.
After a long, painful silence of like 15 seconds, she said yes. And that was the day of stressfulness and figuring out what to do.
That was a very good condition.
And under 4 minutes.
Good job, baby. Well, I'll give you the longer version of what happened. So basically what happened was we went on a date. Like he said, we were up in Pocatello, I think, and then we came back. And so my little sister had gone to Utah with one of her friends, and so she was showing me all her new clothes. And that's, I guess, when Kate asked her. I don't know quite what happened. I don't know how that happened. But, so then that week went by, and I knew he was going to talk to his parents, but I didn't really know about what. So the next day, he had a 3 or 4 hour conversation with his parents, and I didn't hear from him at all during that. So that was stressful for me because I just wanted to support him and help him, and I think you talked about school and jobs, and I guess you asked them, or you told them you were going to propose, I don't know. So that all happened, and then he would send me messages throughout the week of like, well, I'm really nervous for Saturday to go fishing with you. And the thing about Saturday was I was taking my ACT so that I could go to college, you know, because that's important. Go to college. Anyway, so I was studying, so I was tired from work. I was studying. I was worried about what Cade was doing. And he would send me things like, I'm worried about Saturday. And I'd be like, is he worried about me? Is he going about fishing? Like, what's going on? And then there was one time when he was like, well, there's something we need to talk about on Saturday. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, well, we're probably breaking up. We're just gonna, you know, he's gonna say that we can still date, but that he wants to date some other girls. And when we go up to college, that we can date up there, but he wants to date other girls. So I was like, kind of coming to terms with that. And I was like, okay. And so that happened. And then, oh dear.
Did you cry because of that?
I don't remember. I think one night I did. I was just really sad about that. So then, Saturday I went and took my ACT, and he could have come up because it was a Friday, and then we would have spent all Saturday and Sunday together, which is what we normally did. We'd go to church and whatever. But he was like, no, I really want you to be able to focus and to get the rest you need for your ACT and all these things. And I was like, okay, well, this is really strange. She doesn't want to come up. We're not. So I was kind of weirded out by that. So I went and took my ACT. I passed, by the way.
It's not really a pass thing. If you get below 18, you're screwed.
I know. I got above an 18, baby. So that happened. That came weeks later anyway. Then we went, so him and my mom came and picked me up, and we went home, and I got the directions to go up to Tetonia, and my mom and dad and Cade were in the back room talking about when my mom and dad got married, and all kinds of things, and when we left, they were like, Katie, catch a big one! Cade, catch a big one! And I was like, okay, we're gonna catch big fish, and they knew what was going on, of course, I didn't, and, so that happened, and then we went to Subway and had lunch, and we went up to Tetonia, and I was just, like, not going to bring up what he wanted to talk with me about, because I figured he could do that. So we went up there, and we hid the keys in the barn, because that's where they were safe, and all these things. I've been up there fishing multiple times. It was Kate's first time. Caught a big one. Anyway, so then, what happened with that was we went down, and I didn't instigate going down. I fished up the river, not down the river. And Kate was like, we should go down that way, that way, that way. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to go down there. So he did tell you right on his part of the story. We went over trees and through thickets and bushes and all kinds of things. Then we went to that rock, and his line snapped on his pole, and my pole broke, and so we just talked, and it got dark, and it looked like it was going to rain, and I was like, hey, we should go, and he's like, okay, well, I've got this cool new fishing lure that I want to show you, and I was like, okay, and so he was looking through his bag, and he can't find it, and I'm thinking in my head, it's like any other guy, he forgot it at home, he lost it, and so I'm fixing the poles, getting all the line that had been snapped off, and it pretty much happened the way he said. I was just over there, and he's like, here's my fishing lure, I found it, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll look at it in a minute, and he was like, no, I want you to look at it now so we can go, and I turned around, and he was on his knees, and he asked me, and I made him wait. I thought that was perfect touch. Anyway, so then he was pretty excited, and I was excited, and we stayed up there for like another hour and a half, and then we tried to trample through the water, and my feet all got wet, and because I just stomped through the water. I wasn't going to jump from rock to rock. I have very short legs. Cade can attest to that. I have very short legs. He has much longer legs than I do. Most everyone does. But, so that happened, and then we went home. I drove home because he was excited and kind of jumping in the car, and I don't know, it was exciting. It was a happy day.
Your parents, it was really funny with your parents, though. It's like, you
Go
didn't know
catch
anything.
a big one. I didn't know anything. I thought he was breaking up with me, not proposing, but, yeah. then we got engaged and it was happy.